Motivates me to do the work that I do is love, a deep, deep love for my people, black people. I love black people unapologetically. I was just doing an interview with a reporter that asked me, what do I say to people that say I'm an angry black woman? Um, First thing I said, well, first of all, if I am an angry black woman, it's a righteous rage, right? If you were black in this country, you'd be angry too. But it's not the anger that's the motivating factor. The motivating factor is love and a desire to see our people liberated, to be able to live in their skin freely without fear, to be able to walk and talk like everybody else, to be able to marry and have children and not, a line in the show I just did, not raise children who we warn not to die, to be lifted up out of, lift ourselves, not lifted by anybody else, lift ourselves up out of the burden of repression that we've been facing in this country since we were kidnapped and brought here.
How do you think what you are doing is improving the community?
I hope the work that I'm doing is improving the community by um, giving space and place for people to get organized, by empowering people to speak out against the negative things that are impacting their community. I hope that I'm contributing to a larger mass social movement for liberation. Um, I hope that the work I'm doing is helping to pressure the state to to enact some policy changes. And not that I want to be really clear that policy change is not the be all end all for us in this country, but I compare it to, right, black people in this country have a combat boot on their neck. And if we can get some policies that turn that combat boot into a trainer shoe, then maybe that gives us a little more freedom to move around as we journey towards our own liberation.
Okay. Number 4. Talk about the tactics and the strategies you have used to fight against police brutality and discuss why you feel this is an effective approach to bringing about change.
So the tactics and strategies that I've used to fight against police terror are manyfold, right? So one is direct action. And when I say direct action, I mean interrupting business as usual. So I was one of the 14 people who shut down the West Oakland BART station for 3.5 hours. I think those tactics are important. It had an economic impact. We did that on Black Friday, one of the largest shopping days of the year, and we prevented people from going in to San Francisco and spending money on that day. I think it also, when you take major actions like that, and that's the same for protest and marches, which is another tactic that that my organization and my comrades and I employ. It forces the conversation, right? It forces people to talk about it. We're no longer in a time period where they're just killing us and bodies are dropping silently. It's forcing a conversation. It's forcing America to look at what's happening in this supposed democracy, in this land of the free, and that conversation then forces policy change, right? It forces policy change, and then if we're doing our job right, it brings more people into the movement, because it's not, 40, 50 people are not what's going to give black folks their liberation. We've got to build a mass movement of thousands and thousands of people. And my work isn't just about police terror, right? My work is also, like I keep using that word, liberation of our people. And so we also do food programs, we do political education, we do cultural work. And that's really about uplifting our people to a place of feeling empowered enough to create a black self-determined agenda for how we move forward as a people in this country or elsewhere.
Okay, 5th question. What are some of the steps you will be taking in the near future to continue your work?
Steps I will be taking in the near future to continue my work include probably more direct action, more protests, more marches. Very specifically, there was a woman named Yvette Henderson who was a 38-year-old mother, grandmother of 4, who was gunned down by the Emeryville Police Department right on the Emeryville-West Oakland border in broad daylight with an AR-15. And so one of the campaigns that we're pushing right now is to demilitarize our police by banning assault rifles. So that's going to be a big uphill journey. That's going to require serious community organizing, and hopefully though we'll get that passed in Emeryville, move that into Oakland, San Francisco, and then with our comrades in San Francisco, in San Diego and Los Angeles. My organization, the Anti-Police Terror Project, right, we're going to continue. We meet every month. There was another young man, Demarie Hogg, who ironically, his daughter and my daughter are best friends. He was murdered for sleeping in his car. We've got demands around his case, which include releasing the dash cam, body cam, and surveillance footage, appointing an independent investigator, releasing the names of the officers. So we're probably be doing some engagement with Kamala Harris, who's the one who has the power to make that happen. And then policy work. Like, I believe that right now it's all roads in. We've got to be doing it all from the grassroots organizing to engaging the state on their terms.
Okay. Do you believe race and racism is connected to the issue of police brutality?
Yes, I believe race and racism is at the heart of police terror. Not connected, it's the driving force. And then right behind that is class.
How and why is it connected?
I'm trying to phrase the question the right way. Race and racism are connected to the issue of police terror because, as I was talking about earlier, that we live in a system that is dominated by white supremacy. And that's, I want to be clear, I'm not indicting all white people. I'm talking about a system of white supremacy that prioritizes the lives, profits, values, and successes of white people, and in doing so enacts policies and practices that are detrimental to people of color. And the very definition of capitalism, for capitalism to be successful, you've got to have, right, it's this small layer of folks at the top who are profiting and everybody else that is working at well, it used to be free labor, but at low wages in order to maximize the profit. That's the very basis of capitalism. And the way that this country is set up, the people at the tip top are white and the people at the bottom that are keeping the system going are black and brown. And so for those reasons, right, and like I said, again, the police are the first line of defense to keep us in our place. And so for those reasons, race and racism are connected.
Number 7, do you feel that you have ever been profiled by police?
Yes, I have been profiled by police, and I have been threatened by police, and I have been assaulted by police.
Okay, last question. Where does the responsibility for police brutality lie, and what do you believe is the solution?
The responsibility for police terror lies squarely within police departments and the other state structures that uphold the way policing and incarceration is done in this country. It's not on black and brown people. I personally believe that the answer is divestment, that we need to figure out as many ways as possible to not invite the state into our neighborhoods or our communities. One of the things that the Anti-Police Terror Project is working on is a sustainable and replicable model for community policing. We don't like that word. Securing our own communities, training teams, creating people call them no-pig zones, police-free zones, where we don't call the police. We call our comrades. We call the team. I haven't called a cop in 12, 13 years for anything. And that's not to say that there hasn't been things to come up where, right, we would need to call the police, but we call security teams, right? Because our understanding is that calling the police gets black people killed. And so the only way to stop that from happening is to find ways not to invite the state into our lives whatsoever.